On this week's show, we take you to Texas for Conference USA Media Day and reveal the CUSA preseason poll. Plus, JauchTalk is in studio, baby.
And we go out of the office with running back Quinton Cooley and look back to Liberty Soccer's life-changing mission trip to Colombia. You're watching Flames Central.
If you think it's hot outside, just wait until you feel the heat we're going to bring on this edition of Flames Central. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Emily. He's Matt. No need to wait for fall, Matt, because we have plenty of football on today's show.
Yeah, we sure do. We'll also hit the pitch. We'll hit the court because why? We're equal opportunity around here. But first, we have to start things off with a little road trip for Flames football earlier this week to Conference USA Media Day.
Yeah, it was the first formal event under CUSA's 9-team configuration. The big event took place in Texas at Globe Life Field, home of the Texas Rangers, but we're talking football. Each team was represented by its head coach as well as 2 student athletes. For LU, Jamie Chadwell was joined by senior safety Quentin Reese and senior offensive lineman Xavier Gadlin. The trio took part in traditional press conferences, media availability, as well as a live ESPN Plus kickoff show. Such a great experience for them and really tough to find better examples of what this Liberty football program is all about. I'm sure you noticed, Matt, the matching blue suits of Gadlin and Reese. That's why you wore the matching blue suit today.
Chemistry.
The players said they are coordinating their outfits to show that this team is all about playing together because they are a unit. The best part of Media Day, the Flames are finally part of a conference. Here's Coach Chadwell on why joining CUSA is such a big move, not only for his program, but the university as well.
Having this chance to be a part of something and being part of this competitive conference and be able to leave a legacy for our program as in Conference USA is exciting for our team, exciting for our staff, the teams, the coaches, the players in this league. I think this conference is on the cusp of something extraordinary. We've added some really, really good teams with some good coaches, and we're excited about being a part of that and helping build that legacy of Conference USA going forward.
Coach Chadwell's first points when he got here was just the opportunity to play for a conference championship and what that really means, because before it was, hey, let's make sure we get 6 wins, go get to a bowl game so we can have that as our championship. But now it just means a little bit more when you're fighting for a conference championship, especially in the position that we're in. First year being in an FBS conference, that's big for school history. That's big for our legacy as a team, as players. So I think the understanding of that opportunity just makes it that much more valuable and just makes it mean that much more.
High expectations from the Flames and Flames fans this season, and the media members covering Conference USA agree. Liberty has been picked to finish second in the CUSA preseason poll. The Flames only trailing Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers coming off a 9-win season and return one of the top quarterbacks in the country. They pose what the media believes will be the top threat to the Flames in what should be a very competitive conference race in 2023.
Man, it's going to be fun and interesting to see how this conference plays out. As far as the players to look out for, Liberty landed 5 guys on the preseason player watch list. On the offensive side, wide receiver Noah Frith and big man and one of the biggest leaders on this squad, O-lineman Xavier Gadlin. On the defensive side of the ball, one of the most interesting men you'll ever meet, tackle Kendi Charles, and of course the guy we were just talking about, safety Quentin Reese. Last but not least, don't forget about special teams, Matt Warner. It's kicker Nick Brown making the list. But let's remember, this is just preseason award stuff, in the words of some of the players. Still, for the guys who aren't part of this list, you know that's just going to fuel their fire.
You know what fuels my fire, Emily Austin? Having this guy in the studio.
Let's go, baby.
JauchTalk. Joe Jauch, Liberty football analyst here. Let's talk a little bit more. So much excitement around the season as we're getting close to opening up.
Things are fresh, Matt Warner.
They are fresh. We're going to play a little game today called What We Know, What We Don't Know.
It's a fun game.
It's a fun game.
Why not play it?
It's sweeping the nation. Let's start with what we know, Joe Jauch. What we know, or at least think we know, is the strength of this Liberty offense and what that will be.
Yeah, I think right now the strength of Liberty offense is going to have to be their running game. Yeah. There's no question. You look at the running game with Quinton Cooley, the Wake Forest transfer, and then the young freshman Vaughn Blue. These two are really good players. Quinton pins Cooley is what I'm going to call it.
Because he's the
bowling ball, and the defenders are nothing but pins being knocked over by it. So I think the running game, you look at the offensive line, that's going to be the big part of it. They'll be able to run the football. if they can get that cranked up early in the season, that's going to open up so much more within the passing game, because right now, this leads you into what we don't know. What don't we know?
Is that passing game and the quarterback situation? We don't know who will be under center for Week 1.
It's a little dicey right now, but we will say this. So yes, you're correct. We do not know who's going to be under center for Week 1. We will find out. But here's what we do know on that aspect of things: a guy like Jonathan Bennett, they're looking for more of a quarterback manager. Who is going to make you listen to Jamie Chadwell talk about mistakes. Don't make the critical mistakes. Who can manage the offense and get them through, allow that to understand the defense may be a little bit better on that side of the football. So let's limit the mistakes. Jonathan Bennett, Caden Salter, there's all kinds of folks in the mix. And what we do know is this, is that's going to be the guy. They're going to stick with that guy. They're going to ride with quarterback. No more looking over your shoulder. No more if you throw an interception. Oh no, I could get benched for this series. Come in the next series, like they're going to pick a guy and they're going with that guy.
That's easy to say. This
easy
time
to say until that fourth interception.
That's right. Let's go back to what we know. Quinton Reese is going to be a huge part of that Liberty defense.
Yes. Yeah, Quinton Reese is an absolute stud. I mean, you got two major players on that defensive side of the football. Quinton Reese, here's a guy who can tackle, also a guy who has the range and the ability to play sideline to sideline to be able to make the plays in the secondary. So he is definitely a leader of that defense. And then with the other guy, the mystery machine, Kendi Charles. We call him the mystery machines because it's loaded with Scooby snacks in there. He takes the offensive lineman, takes him up, pops him in like a Scooby snack. So the mystery machine is an absolute dominating force on the defensive line. So those two guys are definitely going to be the leaders in that defense.
What we don't know on the defensive side, what kind of depth do we have at linebacker? Who will rise up at that linebacker
Right now
spot?
at the linebacker, we got a bunch of guys that we don't even know who they are and who you know and don't we know. And so the don't we know
I don't know what you're saying.
I'm not exactly sure I'm saying either right now. But we got a bunch of linebackers. But here's the good news. The good news is that there's always good players out there. We just may not know who they are right now. Come week 8, when they're heading over to Western Kentucky, right? At that point, we may know a lot more.
Well, that gets to our final what we know. And what we know is, at least right now, the biggest game on this schedule, October 24th at Western Kentucky. Pick number 1 in the conference in the preseason poll. Is that, in your mind, the biggest game of the year?
Yeah, there's no doubt whatsoever. It's like, let's see. Once again, I've always said this. Liberty has to survive some early games. It's not going to be pretty with all the new faces. When you look at a 50% roster overhaul on the roster, that's tough. And so it's going to take some time to be able to find their mojo, get things rolling. But if they can survive some early games and they get to that late October, that game against West Kentucky, that is going to be a fun game, exciting for Flames Nation.
You heard it here first.
On JauchTalk, baby.
That's right.
What a pleasant surprise to have Joe Jauch in studio. He's quite the talent. And guess what? There's plenty of new talent on this football team. Come out and support the Flames this season and get your season tickets today. It's a new era on the mountain, and we need to show our support. Can't wait to see all of you out there this fall. Well, as JauchTalk just said, transfer running back Quinton Cooley is expected to be an important piece to this Flames offense this season. He stands at only 5'9", but trust me, he makes up for it in his strength. As Matt just said, he's already picked up the nickname bowling ball around the mountain, but he's not necessarily hitting the bowling alley off the field. When he was in search of an escape, he found a unique hobby in clothing. Here's Quinton Cooley out of the office.
It brings a lot of relaxation and peace to me. It calms me down, and when I'm in my own world, it brings me to another relaxation in my life since I'm doing football every day, and then I get to go do clothing, and it just makes me happy. It brings me to my happy place where I'm like calm. I started it last year at Wake. I wanted to make a shirt, so I went to Closest Michael's, which was about to close, so I picked out my Cricut and then ordered on Walmart to get my heat press, and that's how I got into it. If you mess up a detail on the shirt's not gonna be like how you want it to be. Just like on the field, you don't pay attention to details, somebody can go for a big play. Don't pay attention to details, you get tackled for a loss, and you can easily lose that game just like you can lose business in a designing thing. You get your shirt, you wanna lay it out, honestly. You wanna see what colors matches with the shirt. I lay the color on the shirt to see if it like looks good to me. And you come out with the Cricut and you turn it on and you Bluetooth it to your computer. I'm trying to make sure it fits my picture and on my sheet perfect, because I said I got 12 by 10. So right now I'm on 12 by 12. I think I make it a little smaller. With football, you always gonna have a drive of this and stuff, but like designing and making shirts, that's a different type of work ethic. It takes a lot of time. Football can go like that. Just the time and management with it. You got to be patient, really, really patient. As a football player, sometimes you get frustrated and you're not really patient at all, and that's how life works though. But with this type of stuff, you have to be patient at all times. And because one more move, you can mess it all up. Peel carefully. And then you have your picture. So now we go on the shirt. The challenges that goes in this hobby is the detail stuff, really. Trying to get the shirt to come out like you want it, because sometimes you don't come out. And some of it is the lining it up, make sure it's in the middle. That's probably the hardest challenge, and I learned that by looking at the tag of the shirt, so you know it's in the middle. But that's one of the biggest challenges. Now we start heat press. Just for safety, we do the top again. And now just peel it off real slow. It's a new hobby that I learned. It's not something I do every day on a daily basis like football. It's kind of unique that I have a cricket and a heat press that I never knew in my life that, oh, let me make a shirt, let me do this. And just knowing that I don't really have to go out there and buy shirts. I can really make my own shirt. I get to do something that I never thought I could do, and it's just a new hobby. Success at the end of the day is you done made plenty of shirts that came out looking good. You gonna mess them up, obviously, but you post it on social media and you got people telling you, like, keep going, like, let me get one. These look great, and then your family telling you these look great, and that's the shirt.
I may need to get Quinton to make us some Flames Central shirts. That kid's pretty talented, even more so on the football field. Can't wait to watch him play this fall. Well, another team that'll be in action this fall is the men's soccer team. Recently, they had the privilege of traveling to Colombia for a mission trip. They would be able to use their skill set within the game of soccer to open the door for so many other opportunities. Now, we'll have much more in-depth stories about this trip in the future, but this week we wanted to give you a look at how the Flames were able to serve the people of Colombia. This July, the Liberty men's soccer team traveled to Medellin, Colombia, to serve with an organization called Costa Col. This ministry, born in 1985, seeks to use the game of soccer as a means of helping keep kids away from drug-related gangs in some of the poorest neighborhoods of the city. The Liberty athletes, along with the coaching staff, participated in numerous events that included devotionals, clinics, playtime, and children's ministry. They also took part in construction work, helping to build a soccer field that will further the ministry.
Came here to do, baby. Come on now.
You look like Colombian cops in Jesus Christ.
Kids out here, they don't have much a lot of times, and they're struggling with a lot. So being able to give back to them as any way we can, it's a blessing to me, honestly.
It was a time of growth for the members of the team and a spiritual marker for many, as numerous Flames were also baptized on the trip. The team making a public profession of their faith in a crowded river. The perfect exclamation point on a life-changing trip.
Such a great recap from our Helmut Montoya, who was on that trip. Can't wait to see more, but it was just such a cool experience for these guys. You know, young college kids putting others before themselves. And then when you look at that waterfall baptism, that's just so cool. We had Kyle Garnett on our podcast recently, and it was just such a neat experience for them overall.
Yeah, you can tell how much it means to them by how many of those guys are already planning, when can I go back?
Right.
When can I go back there and serve again? It changed their lives so much that they want to go be a part of it as soon as they can.
Love to see it. All right, Matt, speaking of Colombia, did you know Lady Flamethrower Paola Bueno won a silver medal in Cali, Colombia at the 2022 World Athletics Under-20 Championships? You remember that?
Yeah, of course.
All right, well, guess what? She's only getting better. The freshman broke the LU Women's Hammer program record with a 209-foot, 4-inch effort. She clinched her third consecutive Mexican national title in the event. Just 3 days earlier, Matt, well, she captured the Mexican Under-23 championship.
Wow.
Really excited to see how this young athlete continues to dominate this event for LU this upcoming season. Time for a timeout, but coming up, we take a look at the special culture that's been created within Liberty basketball.
Plus, after a championship season last year, Liberty volleyball has its sights set even higher this season. We talk to a key contributor when Flames Central returns.
Challenges, they're nothing new. At Liberty, we know they make you stronger, force you to learn, adapt, to overcome. When your next challenge comes, be ready. Meet it with a degree that propels you forward. We've helped champions like you succeed for 35 years and counting. And now, over 100,000 students are getting stronger every day. At Liberty University, challenges make champions. Let's overcome together.
At the fence, leaping! Wow! To the 5, pylon, he's in!
Welcome to Liberty University's online programs, where living out your calling with integrity is what you train to do. And getting ready for the future doesn't mean missing out on the now. Because a university is more than buildings and books. And an education should set you free, not fence you in. Welcome to Liberty's global campus, where distance learning was pioneered and evolved into one of the top-ranked schools in the nation. Where protecting your budget, your time, and your education isn't just a theory, it's our priority. Here, degrees in your field reflect industry demands and help you get ahead of the competition. Where college comes to you, but you can come to college too. Game day, homecoming, graduation day. Your school, your values, your experience, your choice. Welcome to Liberty University, where we train champions for Christ.
Get your career started on the right track. Let Liberty University help you get on the road to success.
Welcome back to Flames Central. In sports, we hear coaches talk about how important it is to establish a culture within their program, a way of life for their team. But the culture that head coach Richie McKay has brought to Liberty basketball, without a doubt, has impacted more than just his players and staff. Regardless of our position, working with the team, being on the team, or rooting for the team, this program is the standard when it comes to culture.
Liberty is the
basketball. I think about the relationships, the people, the university. I think the best part about being a Liberty basketball player is it's truly a family.
I think this is the first place ever that unconditional love is brought to your attention. You get to experience it.
You know, we have a saying that family's not just blood relatives, but those who love you unconditionally, and that's our hope and our goal. So the people we get to do life with every day, that's family for us.
I think all of us were connected. I think that it's hard to say that in every locker room around the country.
We're built in a way different fashion, and we're pursuant of young people that want to be a part of our campus and its mission.
We talk about wanting the desire to be built differently. If you're going to be built differently, you got to do different things. And the commitment and consistency to do that on a daily basis, I think is special.
There's a sign on a banner that hangs from our practice gym, dream your biggest dreams. And I want to keep believing that God can do exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask, think, or imagine. And I think we can do anything from Liberty because we have that kind of guy.
This program can be whatever God has it to be, man. I really think there's no limit on what God can do in this place.
Yeah, I see it going as far as possible. I honestly believe that he can have a Final Four team and he can ultimately be ranked every year.
Here's Baxter Bell for three. Exclamation point. Back-to-back ASUN champions. Chico Ortiz for the lead. Gave a lot of run ahead. Thrown out from mid-10.
In order to be built differently, you have to do things differently. And I think that's Liberty basketball.
I'm telling you, if that doesn't fire you up, well, this news might. Another solid non-conference opponent locked in for the Flames this upcoming season. LU will face Alabama in the 2023 CM Newton Classic on December 30th in Birmingham, Alabama. This will be the second straight season the Flames will square off against the Crimson Tide. Tickets will be on sale later this fall.
So much to look forward to with hoops, and the same can be said for Liberty volleyball. Last season, the Lady Flames claimed the ASUN regular season title. A huge reason for their success was due to the addition of setter Delaney Dilfer. She would have one of the most impactful seasons in program history. On this week's Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage, we talked to her about her success on the court and how athleticism runs in the family. You should mention what ASUN Setter of the Year last season.
Set me.
You come in.
Set me.
Okay.
I love saying
Come
that.
on in, I'll set you. I imagine
when
you
I play volleyball.
But Trent Dilfer, your dad,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Longtime NFL quarterback, Super Bowl winner, now head coach of UAB. So do you get the question a lot, are you the quarterback of the volleyball team? Is there any correlation, or do people just ask you that because of who your dad is?
It's a really good correlation. My dad's been saying that for forever because both my older sisters were setters too.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that he raised us in a quarterback mentality way. Yeah. And so naturally we gravitated towards the setting position. I want to touch the ball every single play, and I want to be able to really make a difference. And so I definitely think that there's some correlation there. The best part, like you just said, is you get to give the ball to whoever is making it run.
Yeah.
I had a full load of awesome hitters who put the ball away, and it made me look good.
To hear our entire conversation with Delaney, as well as our breakdown of the Conference USA football preseason poll, check out this week's Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. A new podcast is released every Monday. You can find them all in the usual places, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know the deal. Or you can watch the podcast on the Liberty Flames YouTube channel. Well, stick around, much more still to come on this edition of Flame Central.
So you're looking for a university that's perfect for you, a school that has anything you could possibly need.
Anything?
You want a place that has the programs you want to study, and maybe a few more, just in case you change your mind.
I think I'm going to sign up for the fashion design program.
All right. A place with state-of-the-art facilities. I mean, look at this campus.
And who doesn't love big-time sports?
And great recreational activities.
Okay, now we're on a roll. Somewhere you can hike, slide, strike, shoot, climb, eat, and most importantly, eat. You want a place that takes you to space? Okay, maybe not, but we can teach you how to fly, or pastor a church, or run a business. And all that with a great view? Yeah, I think I know a place.
Where you train is where you learn how to say, I know this. I've done this. I've got this. I'm ready. So you can surpass expectations when they say you're hired. At Liberty University, you'll train in world-class facilities as you prepare for a world-class career.
God's calling for your life can be specific. And at Liberty, we are committed to equipping you to pursue that calling. Choose from more than 350 unique programs of study, or design your own major through interdisciplinary studies, and be confident your major is the perfect fit. No matter how specific your calling, you'll find a program of study to match at Liberty University and become your best as a champion for Christ.
All right, that's going to about do it for this week's show. Keep it locked right here to Flame Central, though. Next few weeks, a lot of Liberty football camp coverage as they get things started this fall.
And the wait is almost over. The Flames Fantasy Draft is coming back another year. Yeah. We have a lot of homework to do. With all that turnover, don't forget Flame Central podcast. For Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next week.